They say doctors are trained to see life and death differently than the rest of us. For them, it's charts, numbers, test results. For us, it's emotions, moments, memories. My wife carried that duality with her the moment she graduated from med school. She stood there in her white coat, stethoscope draped proudly around her neck, eyes shining with the brilliance of achievement. I thought she was diagnosing patients' ailments. I never imagined one day she'd turn that gaze on me and call our marriage terminal. We had been married for 12 years by then. I'd bear her rock through residency, those endless nights where she collapsed in our small apartment after 36 hours on call. I cooked, cleaned, did the laundry, and whispered to her that it would all be worth it. And when she finally became a doctor, I thought we'd cross the finish line together. But something shifted. Maybe it was the confidence that came with the white coat. Maybe it was the constant attention she got at the hospital. Or maybe it was simply that power can make people forget who stood beside them when they had nothing. It began subtly. She'd come home later and later, always with the excuse of emergencies and rounds. At first, I believed her. After all, wasn't this exactly what I signed up for? A doctor's life wasn't 9 to 5. But then came the tone in her voice, cold and clinical, when she spoke to me. No warmth, no affection, just clipped sentences, like she was speaking to a patient she had already given up on. One evening, as we sat at the dinner table, she looked at me with that same professional detachment and said, "I've been thinking about us. And honestly, I don't think our marriage has a future. It's terminal." Terminal. She said it like she was announcing a diagnosis, like she was reading it off a chart. Not a tremor in her voice, not a hint of sadness. Just final. I stared at her, fork frozen halfway to my mouth. Terminal? I echoed, like you're giving up on us? She shrugged, sipping her wine. I've tried to feel the same way I used to, but it's gone. These things happen. I can't pretend anymore. Those words hit me harder than any betrayal could have. It wasn't just that she wanted out. It was the way she dismissed 12 years of love, sacrifice, and commitment as if it were a medical condition beyond her control. Still, something in me refused to accept it. Love doesn't just flatline overnight. So I pressed, I questioned, I investigated. And that's when the truth began to bleed through the cracks. Her phone, once left casually on the counter, became glued to her hand. She'd turn it face down, password protected. When I asked who was texting at midnight, she'd snap, "Work. You wouldn't understand." But I did understand. Maybe not the details, but the feeling in my gut told me something was off. One night, after she drifted off into an exhausted sleep, I heard the faint buzz of her phone on the nightstand. Against every principle I held, I picked it up. What I saw carved a hole into me deeper than any knife could. 200 calls. 200. All to one number, saved under a harmless alias. Dr. Patel, R. Except I knew Dr. Patel, and I knew he was married. The call log wasn't professional. No, doctor needs to call another doctor 200 times outside of work hours, most of them past midnight, some lasting over an hour. My hands shook as I scrolled. Each entry another nail in the coffin she herself had declared. The next morning, I confronted her. She didn't deny it. She didn't even flinch. "Yes," she said flatly. "We've been seeing each other. He understands me in ways you don't. You should have seen this coming." 12 years, reduced to a shrug and a stolen man. I wanted to scream, to demand why, to tear apart the lies she had wrapped herself in. But instead, I went silent. Because silence cuts deeper than words when betrayal is already shouting in your veins. In the days that followed, she moved through the house like a stranger, smiling at her phone, giggling softly when she thought I wasn't watching, always leaving with the excuse of extra shifts. I stopped trying to fight for her. Instead, I started fighting for me. I made copies of call logs, screenshots, backups, evidence she couldn't erase. I filed them quietly, preparing for the storm I knew was coming. Because if she thought she could diagnose our marriage as terminal and walk away unscathed, she was wrong. The breaking point came one Friday evening. She announced she was going out for a colleague's birthday. I watched her dress up, Heels she hadn't worn in years, lipstick in a shade that wasn't for me. She left without a backward glance. That night, while she was gone, I sat alone in the house, staring at the evidence. My heart ached, but beneath the ache was a growing resolve. This wasn't going to end with me begging her to stay. This was going to end on my terms. When she finally stumbled home past 2 a.m., I didn't say a word. She climbed into bed smelling of perfume and guilt, and I lay awake, planning my next move.